All attempts to patch our injured souls that are crying for connection to Allah are merely desperate prescriptions for happiness. They are prescriptions to mitigate the pain that is the symptom of our being more weighted in the self, rather than the soul that only wants Allah.
So that's why we need to control our nafs, right? And that's where the challenge begins. Controlling the nafs is the most important challenge. Can you describe this to me? Let me see how much do you remember.
So this is your heart, and it's in constant battle between the self and the soul.
Mm-hmm. So as we discussed, right? So between the self and the soul. So the self is actually comprised of all these emotions and desires and greed and lust and ambitions, right? So on the one hand, the self is putting pressure on the heart, right, to transgress, right? On the other hand, the soul is putting pressure on the heart to seek the Creator, to seek to achieve the purpose of your life. So this is a constant battle between the self and the
soul,
and the soul, right, or your intrinsic nature, right? And then ultimately what happens is that it's going to end up, so whenever there's a fight, right, whenever there's a struggle, and what's the word for struggle in Arabic? Jehad, right? So there is a struggle between these two elements, the self and the soul, and one of them has to win. So it's not a constant win all the time, so you have to constantly battle that. And then what happens here, and what's the difference between these two?
So this is if the self takes over, see black heart. Mm-hmm. And this is if your fitra takes over, so it's unlocked by revelation. Okay. And
yeah, good. So like the general perception, if I don't believe in the unseen, if I don't believe in the revelation, if I don't have this Islamic perspective, then for me, my heart is just a pump, right? That pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood every day, right? And that's it. That's the end of the story. But then again, from the Islamic perspective, the things that we believe in soul, right? And then the heart is not just a pumping organ, right? The heart is described in the Quran in different ways, but here, and that's the controlling organ, not just for pumping blood, but in terms of the struggle that's happening there about your character, about your personality, about your behavior and attitude in life, that struggle is actually happening right there. So there's a lot of information and knowledge out there about this particular concept, and we'll discuss it in detail. I'll give you a quick short summary. Our intrinsic nature or fitra is actually ignited by revelation, right? So the constant struggle is here, but if you connect with the divine revelation, then your fitra is ignited, right? And then the fitra takes over, right? And the nafs, the nafs is subdued, so that transgression, you don't transgress anymore, right? So you are at peace. So this nafs is called nafsul mutma'inna, the contented soul, and this one is called nafsul marida, means the six souls. What are the characteristics of these two different types of souls?
So nafsul mutma'inna, it's sincere. It's when the fitra is like enlightened so it takes over the self. Mm-hmm. And nafsul marida, it's anxious, dominated by desires and your ego. Mm-hmm. And it's distant from Allah and attached to negativity.
All right, so let's see what is this, right? And how is this one linked to that? So what does it say?
The real battlegrounds.
Which is the real battleground?
The heart.
So our heart is actually the real battleground, and then the struggle that we are talking about, the struggle between the self and our intrinsic nature, right? Our fitra, that's the real struggle, right? That's the real struggle, means jihad. So that's the real jihad, right? And this is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, called this Jihadul Akbar, means the greatest jihad, right? So if you become successful, right, then you have an enlightened heart, right? And then you go on this straight path towards achieving the purpose of your life, right?